And do we have presenters on the phone, on the line, Laura?
We do, and we do have a quorum now.
Okay.
Everybody that said they were going to be here is now.
Kept our words.
Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, welcome everybody. This is our September meeting of the Town and Country Architecture Review Board. We have a very short agenda tonight, 3 items total. And so we'll move through as quickly as possible. Can everybody hear okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear well, everybody. Okay, good. Okay. First item on the agenda is roll call. Laura?
Chairman Benegas.
Here.
Mr. Arzano.
Here.
Mr. Forbringer.
Here.
Miss Proust. She is
Give me
here.
a thumbs up. You're on. Just give us a thumbs up and we can read that, Elizabeth. Okay, next time.
And Mr. Suku. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We have Miss Bennis and Mr. Clark is absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the August 3rd meeting that have been previously distributed. Any additions, changes, corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve and it is seconded. All in favor, is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. So the August minutes of the Architecture Review Board are approved. First, next item on the agenda is approval of an addition at 1614 Mason Road. And do we have a presenter of that project?
Susan Dana.
Welcome, Susan. If you would give us an overview of the project.
This house on Mason Road used to be a schoolhouse. It's been added on to many times. And at the moment, it has no real front door. The way you enter the house is through a small addition at the corner of the house. So the owner would like to put on an entry vestibule. It is going to be on the side facing her parking lot, which faces Peacock Farm Road. And we're going to try to keep the style in the vocabulary of the 1880s. She's going to renovate the finishes on the exterior of that side of the house. And in future phases of the project, she's going to replace siding and window trim on the other sides of the house. So in time, it will all be a cohesively finished exterior.
Okay, Ms. Dana, first let's have a history lesson. What years was the schoolhouse?
Excuse me?
I just saying.
I couldn't quite
let's
understand the words.
Let's first have a history lesson. What years was it a schoolhouse?
All I know is
You
it
happen
was
to
built
know?
about the 1880s.
1880s. Okay, interesting. Okay, discussion about the proposed project.
Is it registered as a historic? Because this is so old.
Not that I know of, or the owner, no. I do see it is discussed on the Town and Country website as one of the oldest buildings in Town and Country.
I see.
By the Historical Society.
Ryan, would that come up in the permit process as to whether it's recognized on some historic registry?
No, that's not part of our process, no.
Okay, all right. Okay, any other comments, questions?
Actually, I would like to suggest, Susan, if you don't mind, you know, you don't have anything on the east elevation, but I really think that clear story would be nice to have it there, and you could continue that white trim because you have enough room to put the coat and stuff like that. I mean, it could be something to match to the west elevation clear story and repeating the same thing on the east elevation.
Well, that actually is something we've talked with the owner about. She was a little worried about adding expense to this project, but she is interested in doing that. Would you make that a requirement for approval?
Oh, no, it's just a suggestion.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Chairman Bennett, just for the record, we have received no public comments in regards to this project.
Thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. Okay, hearing no other questions or comments, entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for being with us and good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, I'm waiting for my electronics to come up here. Sorry about the delay here, folks. Next item on the agenda is a new home at 2549 Town and Country Lane. Is there a presenter for that project?
You're
Ms.
muted,
LeMay?
Penny.
There we go.
There you go. Thank you.
We're good.
Mr. LeMay, are you the presenter for this project?
I am.
Welcome. Give us a rundown of the project, if you would, an overview.
Yes, new single family home at 2549 Town and Country Lane. White exterior. It also has a attached pool house along with the home. It's a side entry, 3-car garage. Brick construction with hardy board.
Okay. Comments, questions for the presenter?
I have one comment. Not on the house itself, but the pool house.
Mhm.
The side that faces the neighbor, basically the back side of the pool house, is completely blank. You know, is there ability to do something with it, whether it's adding a window or just adding some sort of relief to make it a little nicer looking for the neighbor, so that they're not just staring at the back side of the building?
We could easily add a window on the that side. I believe, like in the changing room, we could definitely put a window there with some coverings, obviously.
Yeah, or if it's even if it's just a little clear story, you know, something a little bit higher up, something to relieve that, so that the neighbors don't feel like they're always looking at the back side.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments about the proposed project?
Have you looked at how many trees they're taking down?
I did. Oh, that is a question I always ask. Do you happen to know what, and I don't have it in front of me because of my electronic limitations here, but do you know how much you had to pay for the tree survey?
What we had to pay for the actual survey?
Yes.
Couldn't tell you. I
Okay.
could look.
Okay. If you happen to know and can get that information to Ryan, I'm just trying to keep track of what our ordinance are actually costing our constituents.
I'll tell you real quick.
Then while we're waiting on that, Chairman Benegas, we've also received no public comments for this project as well.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
To be honest with you, he normally does it. He doesn't charge me because he just includes it if he's taking trees down.
Okay,
But I'm looking at a past one they did, and I want to say it was 300.
okay, thank you.
300,
Well, if
yeah.
it's
I had
free,
one that was done 300.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
If there's no additional questions or comments on the project, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with the one condition of adding a window or clear story to the backside of the pool house.
Okay, there's been a motion with contingency. Is there a second?
A second.
There's been a motion, a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Congratulations. Thanks for being here and good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Next item on the
Thanks,
agenda.
Thanks.
Next item on the agenda is an architecture review code amendment. Hopefully you've all had a chance to take a look at that. The intention of this is just to be able to expand the role of architectural review a little bit, in that we've had some buildings, additions to the rear of homes and outbuildings that have not gone through the architecture review process that have fairly dramatically affected neighbors. As Mr. Arzano, as you suggested just a few moments ago, that even just a window or two makes a major difference in the view of a neighbor. And so this is the reason behind the ordinance change. And hopefully we're addressing the spirit that's intended. Any thoughts, questions, comments regarding the proposed ordinance change?
Just as part of general conversation, I know I had reached out to Ryan earlier today and asked him for a list of what are those additional accessory buildings that would require review. You know, I could understand some of them, a storage building larger than 100 square feet or taller than 8 feet. A children's playhouse, which I could picture one in our neighborhood that might have triggered this conversation, that's bigger than 50 square feet and taller than 8 feet. Do we have a lot of dog houses that are bigger than 50 square feet? You know, but Oswald, I'm sure you want to comment on those.
Ask that question again, I missed it.
Dog houses larger than 50 square feet? Or do we want to review those architecturally?
Well, I don't know really in that. We are getting some pretty large. We're getting some pretty large outbuildings, and for the Great Danes that might be around, it may be worth looking at.
Do you want to establish a minimum size?
No, I'm just again just part of a conversation. I guess we could. I guess it's always safer for us to include it, and then if it comes up, we just say we have no comments.
Yeah, I would say, Ryan, you know, I don't know if I've ever asked this. Do we have the ability to waive the fee for a filing to come to architecture review, or is that somebody else's purview? Is that the board of Aldermen?
Is supposed to be the body that waives fees. Yes.
Yeah. So as long as I'm on the board, if there is something that comes before the board that we think is inappropriate, I'd be willing to waive the fee if it or try to get the board to move or waive the fee. But all these seem to be reasonable to me, really, because people will have the ability to build some pretty big buildings for questionable usage.
Mm-hmm.
And just for the record, this isn't just accessory structures. This is residential additions. So,
right,
the covered patios, attached. You know, if they attach a pool house to the back of the house or do master bedroom addition up the back of the house. Those would be under review now with this kind of legislation.
How many of those do you get every month?
Can hear you, Elizabeth.
How many of those do you get every month?
Laura and I looked at that. What did we come up with? Was the number 30 a year?
I don't have the number off the top of my head. My main concern is kind of getting direction as far as like covered patios, pergolas that are attached to the building. Is that something that architecture review wants to see? We just need, because the strict interpretation, would be that it would go through architecture review, but we didn't know if that rose to the level of something that you guys would want to see. And so that's why Ryan kind of brought up, well,
Right.
maybe there's a square footage minimum.
Well, I think the way it's worded is it's tied to whatever requires a conditional use permit. So if somebody were building a doghouse bigger than 50 square feet and taller than 6 feet, and they were already required to get a permit for it, having it go through the architecture review board, I know from some recent things that are going on in my neighborhood that at least it would make some of the neighbors feel like people were taking it seriously.
Well, this is how it would read, just for the record. Architectural review shall be required for all residential building additions and residential accessory buildings that require a conditional use permit. So is that?
So additions is what,
Right.
all residential additions.
Not an addition that needs a conditional use permit. It's just an addition.
Right. And an addition would be, and I know I've run into this in other jurisdictions from the other side of it. Yeah, you might build a gazebo that's under 200 square feet and not 16 feet tall, but the minute you bolt it to the house, all of a sudden now it's an addition and it's not a gazebo. And that's, I mean, that's not unusual in other jurisdictions to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay. We just wanted direction from you guys is what you want to see,
Right.
instead of taking it upon ourselves to kind of understand, and interpret while
could
we're
al-
having this discussion.
The great thing about making amendments to the code is we can always revisit and evaluate and see how it goes. There will be additional business before you then. You'll probably see 2 to 5 additional items a month, I would think, above what you normally see.
So do you require the same level of like a tree study and colored renderings and all of that sort of stuff for the 50 square foot doghouse?
The tree studies are only triggered by new houses, infill houses, or additions that create more than 50% impervious in addition to what's there. So, unless it's a massive addition, it's not going to trigger that kind of tree study. That's just for infill houses like the one we just saw, agenda item 2.
So that would be required regardless whether it was going for an ARB or not, right?
For an infill house.
No, for if someone's doing an addition that triggered the study.
So
And
like,
the
addition was on the,
would that have triggered?
Right, a rear addition that increases more than is it over a 50% increase in impervious that right now you wouldn't see it, but they'd still have to do a tree study. Staff would have to review it and
Right.
approve it. Yes.
so to have it go in front of the ARB is not costing them any additional money. It might take them a little bit more time, another step for them, but it's not costing.
Right. I mean, if they're calling ahead of time and they're coordinating properly, then the timing should be okay. It's just when they don't expect it and they submit the bill. We're gonna have to do some education if we make this adoption, because I have a feeling we're gonna get a lot of building permit submissions, and we're gonna have to say, "Whoop, sorry, you got to go to this ARB. Oh, sorry, the deadline was 2 weeks ago. Now you got to wait," and that kind of that's on staff to kind of get the word out. To avoid that, with our frequent flyers, the ones that do a lot of business, we can't reach out to every single contractor in St. Louis, but we can definitely cast a wide net with the folks that normally submit these kind of projects. So.
Any other questions, comments? Is this something that you would like to go ahead and vote on now? Do you want to think about it for a little bit and come back to it maybe at the next meeting? What's the board's sense of movement on this item?
I'm fine voting on it now. I don't need,
I think I'd like to wait because I don't know that I love it.
okay.
Do you want some more data? I mean, we can pull some statistics and kind of go back a few years and try and figure out, you know, what the numbers are and the kind of scenarios and situations, and that helps with decision making.
How about if we just go ahead and do that? You could bring us some more information, that kind of data, if you would, Ryan and Laura.
Okay.
And
John,
we'll move this forward to our next meeting. Is that all right?
Yeah, and just so you know, we haven't received public comment on this either. So.
Okay, we will. Ryan, did you have something else you wanted to say?
I just wanted to mention that, yeah, Mary Beth and Steve Clark weren't here this evening, and they might have other thoughts too.
Yeah,
so
okay.
them an opportunity to weigh in as well. That would be nice. But Laura and I can definitely get some more data for you. You know, looking back a few years and kind of see
Okay.
what this.
We'll entertain a motion to continue this item to the meeting of October.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Is there a second?
I will second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, this item will be continued to the meeting of October 2020. Any other items for the agenda today? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Is there a
I'll second.
second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We're adjourned. Thank you all for again giving us your time and your expertise. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John?
Good night.